moving on, let's talk about Peter real quick. Y'all know, y'all better not ever say nothing bad about Peter Thomas. Ever, 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 ever. And if Peter is in the chat, Peter say something, because I don't know if you're in the chat or not. But Peter hasn't been in the news recently because he has lost a lawsuit and he has been ordered to pay over $9 million for a restaurant deal that he had in Miami that never opened. Okay, Radar Online was the first to get the documents, of course, of course, of course, of course. And according to the documents, a Miami judge granted a default judgment in favor of DTS DT Retail against Peter and his now closed Miami restaurant Bar One and his separate business One Society. So they sued him personally, his Bar One restaurant, and another business called One Society. Thomas, who ran Bar One from 2019 until late last year when it closed because it was allegedly evicted over unpaid rent. Bar One was so good. Anyway, before the eviction, Thomas had plans to open a separate upscale supper club in Miami called One Society, and he planned to spend about $3 million on the project. The project apparently never took off, and the company that he formed for One Society was dissolved. Now, the people who partner with him, DTS DT Retail, well, that was the actual landlord for the location, says that they want their money because despite it not being open, he didn't pay the bills for the place. It was empty. So in January of last year, they actually sued him and his businesses, and the landlord claimed that One Society had signed a 120-month lease for the location. The landlord is claiming that Thomas' business breached the lease by failing to pay the rent from October 22 to January 23. At the time, One Society owed 61,000 in back rent. In addition, the landlord said that Thomas had failed to produce tenant plans within 30 days of the lease being executed. Now, Thomas has responded and basically said, good luck with that. I ain't got it. In the words of, I guess, Tasha. He said he ain't got it. In response, he denied all the allegations and he claimed that DTS, the leasing agent, breached the lease by failing to provide him sufficient access to the premises. So he was supposed to be opening a spot, and apparently he couldn't get in the spot to do what he had to do. That's what he's claiming. He argued that DTS's actions excused his obligations under the lease until the breach was cured. Until you give me access to the building to do what I got to do, why would I pay you rent on a building that I can't have access to? That's what he's claiming. Thomas responded, but One Society did not file an official answer, which led to the judge granting a default judgment against One Society and ordered the company to vacate the premises immediately. One Society was dissolved, so I guess that's why it didn't respond. Now, in a recent motion for default judgment, DTS, which is the leasing agent, argued that One Society and Thomas had not paid the lease continuing monthly obligations of base rent, which began March 23rd, and another operating expense, insurance, and property taxes. DTS claimed that due to the default, One Society and Thomas were responsible for damages, including accelerating rent and operating expenses due under the lease. The landlord demanded $9,175,189.38, which includes all rent owed on the 120-month lease plus other expenses. On February 27, 2024, the judge granted the default judgments and awarded DTS 9.1 million plus attorney's fees from both Peter Thomas and One Society. Now, Thomas, Radar Online reached out to Peter Thomas, and Peter Thomas told them that he plans to appeal the judgment. And he says, I'm going to win. They'll never see a dime. Thomas also accused the landlord of micromanaging him and failing to give him the keys on time. So there's that. There's that. Like I said earlier, You don't have successes without failures. Peter has had his share of failures. He's also had his share of successes. Bar one, even though it's closed now, it was open for almost 10 years, dang near. So I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Restaurants don't stay open forever. Do you know a restaurant that's been open forever that's not a chain restaurant? Y'all let me know. Is it a coincidence that all of these black restaurants open and close and open and close? And it's like until they finally get it right. I don't know. But none of them stay open forever. But they had a good run. That's all I know. It's a lot of restaurants I like. They have a good run. You said try to call Peter. Peter need to call me. I'm not calling Peter. Y'all ain't gonna get me messy today. I'm not gonna be messy today. Okay. Get those likes up. Thank you so much.